Good morning everyone and welcome to our 5-minute Sunday School. So in this week's Sunday School we are going to be exploring the parable of the sower. Now a parable is a story that's often told to tell or spread a much bigger message, and parables contain ideas which are really easy to picture in our heads. So in today's parable of the sower, featuring a farmer, we are going to be learning about what happens when the farmer scatters his seeds in different places. In some places the seeds land and they don't grow at all. In other places they start to grow, but then they fail, they wither and they die. And then in other places they grow in a huge way. They multiply and produce lots and lots and lots of wheat, and in our case today, flowers. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, the parable of the sower. Now the story was told by Jesus to many people, so many people that Jesus had to get on a boat and be in the water so all the people on the shore could hear what he had to say. "Listen," Jesus said. "A farmer went out to sow his seeds. As he scattered them, some of the seeds fell onto the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Other seeds fell onto rocky ground. At first, they grew quickly, but when the sun came out, they got all burnt up because they had no roots in the shallow soil. Other seeds fell among the thorns, which grew up around them and choked them, stopping them from growing. Other seeds fell on the good soil, and they grew into 30, 60, 100 times more wheat." "Listen," Jesus said. "If you've got ears, listen." Jesus explained the parable of the sower to the crowd. "What did I mean by the seed on the path being eaten up? Well, that's like when the good things that God has planted in our hearts get snatched away by the devil." And Tabby, can you show what the birds did with the seeds? What did they do? They snatched the goodness away, didn't they? And the seed on the rocky path? Well, that's like when someone hears God's word and really likes it and is full of happiness, but their happiness disappears as soon as trouble comes their way and things get tricky. And what about the seed among the thorns? Well, that's like when someone hears God's word, but worry and greed take over and the seeds just can't grow. But the seed planted in the good soil, the seed in the good soil is like the person who hears God's word, loves it and lives it, and so it produces 30, 60, 100 times more goodness in their lives. So girls, which of the seeds grew best?
The soil.
That's right.
A lovely flower.
And it made a lovely flower. So what does that tell us about God's message when it's in the right place?
A goodness.
It provides goodness. Well done. So boys and girls, we've just seen the parable of the sower and his seeds. And the stories are all about God's message and growing God's message and making sure it's planted in the right place so that it can grow. So what we now want to think about is, what is God's message? So what kind of people does God want us to be? So Scarlett, what do you think?
Probably kind, thoughtful, helpful, and to put other people's needs before yours.
Great ideas. And Tabby, can you think of an example?
One time I helped my friend and I wanted to go to the teacher and then I helped them up.
Good, lovely idea. And Scarlett, have you been kind, helpful or thoughtful?
One time I offered to help all against my Barbie teacher.
Fabulous, well done. So what we're going to do as our craft activity today is we are going to be painting a rock or a stone. So what we would love for you to do is go into your gardens and find a stone or a rock, and we'd like you to paint that in a way that helps to remind you to be all of those things: kind, helpful and thoughtful. And then once you finish painting it and it has dried, we would like you to plant that rock or place it somewhere that you are going to see each day, and so it will remind you to be part of God's message and to remember God's message and to grow God's message of being kind and thoughtful and helpful. So as you're painting your rock, you might want to paint a picture of yourself being kind, or you could just paint it in some colours that remind you of the importance of being kind, helpful, honest and thoughtful. Enjoy, everyone.
And I painted mine grey.